So if we were starting this from scratch, what would it look like? I'm not going to do every step of the whole thing. We've just walked through every step, and this video would go on for probably way too long if I did the whole thing from scratch and asked you to watch it. But what would it look like to get this started? All right, if I'm starting from scratch, let's just go Control when green flag clicked. You've all done that a million times. Easy enough. Now, I would just start making variables. I need a variable for the perimeter. I also need a variable for each side added together. If you want to make these quickly, you can just do variables named a plus b, a plus c, and let's make our last one b plus c. Then we also need a variable for each of these on their own, so just a variable for side A, a variable for side B, and a variable for side C. So that's 7 variables, which may seem like a lot, but that's all that we need. Once you've made all of these, it's a good idea just to bring out a set for each variable. This is called initialization. It's a good idea to reset your variables at the beginning of each time that you run the program. If they're storing old data, it could end up causing some errors. So I've brought out a bunch of sets, and I'm just going to set perimeter to 0. I'm going to go down my list, set all of my addition variables to 0, and set all of my individual sides to 0. I need just one more. All right, my variables exist. They're initialized to start at 0. That's a great start. Now, we need to start sensing some of our players' inputs. We need to ask, how long is side A? If you want to make this a little more user-friendly, it would actually be a good idea to start off with a say like, we're going to build a triangle together. I need you to tell me how long each side is. So if you want to make it more user-friendly, go ahead and add a little bit to this. But this is just the bare bones. So next we'll set the variable of A to be equal to whatever answer. So we jump back to sensing and drag out this answer block. So A is going to be equal to the answer that the player just gave us. Moving on from here, the fastest way to do this will just be to control-click on this blue part and duplicate it and snap this down here. Now, just like I mentioned before, all we need to do is change this A to a B in our text, and then change the variable to set B to be equal to the second answer that the player gives us. Repeat that process, duplicate, change B to C in our text, set the variable to be C equal to the answer that the player just gave us, and now we need to set our next set of variables. So we need 3 sets, one for each of our addition variables. So we'll set A and B, and A and C, and B plus C. And to do this math in the background real quick, we'll go get our addition operator right at the top. And then we need to go back to our variables and drag out this. So if we're doing A plus B here, it stands to reason. We bring out the variables A plus B and add them up so that we can set this variable to be the result of whatever data is being stored in our variables. We'll do the same thing with A and C. And B and C. Next, we need to go back to Control and bring out an if-else. And now we need to check and see if we can even create a triangle with the numbers that were given to us. So I'll bring out my less than operator, and I'll simply say that if A plus B is less than C, then we'll go to our looks, and we'll simply have this tell us with a say block that these numbers cannot create a triangle. And if you really want to make this perfect, you could add in a quick stop all, meaning that if we give it bad numbers, it will just stop the program right there. You have to scroll down a little bit in your control category to find this, but there it is, stop all, and that'll just end the program after you give it data that it really can't use. Now, you can just control-click on your if and pop that into your else, and then you can change up the math a little bit by simply replacing your variables. get rid of a plus b, and add in a plus c. Get rid of c, and replace it with b, and the rest of it's good to go. Now in your last else, you don't need to put a new if else in there, so we're actually just going to bring out a clean if block. But then if you want, you could quickly control click on this green operator block here, and I can duplicate this and drop it in. And once again, I can just change up the variables with my last option that I haven't used yet, being b plus c, if it's greater than a. And then I can control click on my purple save block and duplicate that and pop it in. Then we've already determined whether or not we can create a triangle. Now, if you want to tell the player what the perimeter of the triangle they created is, then we can simply go to set perimeter to, well, we can't just set it to be equal to a specific number. We need to use our variables. And we need to add up all the sides. So we'll pop out an addition operator, and the variables that we will add up, let's just take the a plus b result and add it to c, and that will be the perimeter. Then to make sure the player can actually see that, we'll simply go to our say for seconds block, and we'll replace hello with perimeter. And it will tell us the perimeter. So this may seem like a lot, but this is really the most basic version of the program that you can create. If you want to take it all the way, I'm just going to put this code down here on screen one more time for you, since it's been a little while since we've seen it. If you follow along with the rest of it, that's awesome. Now, I would ask you to go ahead and program this so it can at least identify an equilateral and isosceles triangle. And again, if you want some extra credit, go ahead and try to figure out scalene triangle on your own. And don't forget, if you have a little extra time and you want to have some fun with this, you don't have to keep your sprites basic and boring, and you don't need to have a blank white background. You can add in some characters and some artwork, whether it's your own or something you found on Google Images. Have a little fun, make it unique. Alright guys, good luck, and have fun.